Economic slowdown prompts a realignment of priorities. The opposition says the PM shouldn't contradict himself. And Rabaul to see changes to power generation.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Thursday's news. Thanks again for your company. Opposition leader Don Pollier says he is disgusted with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill's move to challenge his referral to the Leadership Tribunal. Mr. Pollier says the Prime Minister contradicted his statements that he would accept his referral. He made these comments after the courts accepted the submission by Mr. O'Neill's lawyers and referred questions to the Supreme Court for interpretation on the powers of the Ombudsman Commission.
The opposition leader says Mr. O'Neill is making a mockery of the Ombudsman Commission and the Public Prosecutor's Office. Pollier said the Prime Minister should follow and appear before the tribunal.
It's for the Prime Minister's good that he can seize this opportunity to clear his name. He is not guilty yet.
He has called on the Prime Minister not to buy time by using delayed tactics, and he should keep to his words and present himself with evidences regarding the decision to obtain the 3 billion kina UBS loan.
That's a public office, and his conduct is tainting and undermining and belittling the office of the Prime Minister.
The opposition leader asked the Prime Minister to uphold the integrity of the office and do the right thing. He said Mr. O'Neill has again gone against his words after publicly telling the media he is prepared to go to the courts. The controversial UBS loan was sought earlier this year by the government to buy a share of 10.1% in the oil and gas producer Oil Search, something the opposition has been vocal about.
I want to say here that we welcome his decision because it gives us an opportunity to go before the independent tribunal and the courts to determine the outcomes of these decisions based on real evidence that are going to be presented to the tribunal.
A total of 2 court proceedings is being challenged by Mr. O'Neill, which the first relates to 6 constitutional questions on the powers of the public prosecutor and the Ombudsman Commission. The matter has been adjourned and is expected to return to the courts next week. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
After a 13-year court battle, Madang businessman Peter Yama has won his case this afternoon against Papua New Guinea Banking Corporation, now trading as Bank South Pacific. Mr. Yama described the decision by the Supreme Court as a relief to him and his family. The court found that the fees imposed by the bank on Mr. Yama's Smugglers Inn hotel were invalid. As a result, the hotel has suffered significant losses. Mr. Yama is planning on ways in which he'll take his next course of action against the bank.
So me to thank you through long all money staff on me, na family belong all na me wish him all good luck Christmas. Na thank him all. It's the opportunity me kiss him. Me to thank you long display day and me good luck some Christmas present. Long me na family na it's a long fight me been fighting.
20 years after the Rabaul volcanic eruptions destroyed most infrastructures, the district is slowly rebuilding them. The rural electrification program is the district's move to improve the quality of life after the eruption. NTV's Bethany Harriman reports from Rabaul.
After Rabaul town was destroyed by volcanic eruptions in 1994, much of its infrastructure disappeared. These infrastructures destroyed put the historic town behind, but its authorities have still strived to put the province ahead compared to other parts of PNG. Rabaul still has one of the best road networks in the country that in the past took electricity to most places within the district.
And for the last 20 years, they've been living in total darkness.
But today's Rabaul MP, Dr. Alan Marat, has embarked on a journey to rebuild infrastructure that was destroyed, starting with electricity. He says it's part of improving the quality of people's life, both socially and economically.
This is phase 2. We completed it, and now today, Honorable Member for Vanimo Green, outgoing, outgoing opposition leader has just launched.
For Kombiu LLG, this begins early. The outgoing opposition leader, Belden Nama, was at the commissioning of the electricity at the Sir Albert Toburua Primary School.
This is a life-transforming change that is going to impact the lives of the people here. I believe he has also done the water supply project, and these are the kind of essential services that the national government should promote to reach the very least of our country.
In the next several years, it's anticipated that Rabaul will have redeveloped most of its damaged or destroyed electricity supply. But for the Kombiu LLG, the rural electrification program has reached them. Eva Magaga remembers the past. Before the eruptions, this area had electricity.
Development is going to be a real impact in a lot of our lives, and I know that people that are at Gelegele will want to come back. And those that have lived out, like in Mosby and other places, when they heard the electricity has actually come to Nodup, to Matalau, they had real great joy, and they're looking forward to actually coming and seeing for the first time again this area that has been left in darkness since the 1994 eruption.
This road behind me used to have power lines going straight to Kombiu. But during the 1994 volcanic eruptions, all of those power lines were destroyed. But in the next several years, this road will once again have power lines. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Rabaul.
CIMC raises concerns over the fragmented approach to agriculture. That story, among others, after the break. Good to have you back with the news. The PNG government's revenue is expected to dip over the next 3 years. Contributing factors include slowing domestic business activity and falling output from existing mining and oil operations. But according to the Asian Development Bank's latest economic report, the slowdown is a chance to boost expenditure quality.
At the ADB forum yesterday, ADB country economist Aaron Betten reiterated that while PNG's economic growth will reach record heights in 2015, revenue growth will slow down in coming years. To reduce the budget deficit and achieve fiscal balance by 2017, the government plans to cut total expenditure. The economist said achieving these targets will be challenging, but returning the budget to normalcy is vital for restoring safeguards against global economic shocks.
That's the challenge that's facing PNG over the next 4 or 5 years. They need to shift from an environment of a rapidly growing budget to one of more stable fiscal parameters and a more constrained revenue environment for the country. So when we talk about fiscal buffers, it's about ensuring that the economy is able to respond to those negative external shocks that might happen.
The revenue reduction is due to declining global commodity prices, slowing domestic business, and falling output from existing mining and oil operations as the LNG construction phase comes to an end. He said that the revenue slowdown presents an opportunity for the government to refocus efforts on improving the quality and impact on public expenditure.
On the one hand, fiscal consolidation is needed over the next few years, and that is something that I think all development partners, the private sector, civil society, media, everybody can help support the government to undertake. This will be very important to wind back some of the front loading of expenditure and to rebuild those fiscal buffers that we spoke about before so that PNG can remain a flexible, dynamic economy in the face of external shocks.
Mr. Betten said the less revenue inflows will enhance the government's ability to ensure funds are better managed. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
The Treasury Minister Patrick Pruitt says the trimming of funding will not have an impact on the developments at the local level government. The Treasurer said the LLG money was cut intentionally to avoid misappropriation at the third level government. Pruitt said the increase of DSIP funds to 15 million kina will cover for the shortfall.
Yesterday, the Treasury Minister explains why the government have trimmed the LLG funds from 500,000 kina to 100,000 kina for next year. The Treasurer says the government is adopting measures to make sure that the money is put to good use.
The reason why we had to cut down on LLG funding is because of two reasons. Sampla Blol presidents only start finished lo playing politics, lo this lo funding. So me ask him, President Zemol, services improvement funding, enough lo political discretionary fund lo presidents.
There's been a cloud of controversy hanging over these changes since the government announced a record budget of 16.2 billion kina for next year. Many LLGs who have seen the benefits of the 500,000 kina LLG fund are already feeling the pinch of the budget cut. The new budget allocation may have impact on the LLGs in terms of service delivery at the village level.
LLG go down right to the roots, the people on the ground now.
But the government says it has increased the DSIP funds for each district by an additional 5 million kina and that it will also cater to the shortfall in their LLGs.
Suppose you look him increase in envelope long district and me play increase him additional 5 million long all one district blow you me instead of normal 10 million me put him additional 5 million.
In previous years, funding has not been reaching the LLGs. The changes to the budget is expected to stir up debate between LLGs and their districts. This means LLG presidents will have to seek funds from elsewhere to support their LLGs. All eyes are now on the new DSIP fund of 15 million kina, but many argue that it will still be a serious challenge for the third tier of government. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Leh.
The government should be developing a marketing strategy for Papua New Guinean commodities instead of focusing on productivity. This is from the CIMC Agriculture Committee. Members of the committee said Papua New Guineans know how to grow these commodities, but they need incentives such as subsidies and price stability to increase productivity.
Members of the committee said there is a lack of political will in the promotion and growth of our agriculture industries. This has had a negative impact on the productivity of our various commodities.
It has been because there's been a definite lack of interest at the political, government, ministerial level, and that the government's been carried away by all the glamour of mining and oil and gas, and they've just not been listening to the needs of 80% of our population.
In the agriculture sector, we have been pushing a production policy, and it is becoming very obvious that the production policy has come to a point where if we continue to push production policy in the agriculture sector, that will continue to decline.
At the moment, the agriculture sector is in a fragmented state. They propose that there should be an overarching body to coordinate efforts within the sector.
Years we've seen a budget this for 2015, which is actually a very modest budget for agriculture, very much inadequate for the sector's needs.
The Consultative Implementation and Monitoring Council had been set up to bring together stakeholders from the public and private bodies to discuss issues within their respective sectors. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The Correctional Service in Leh is expecting new upgrades to its facilities in 2015. Assistant CS Commissioner for Southern Region, Andrew Warwick, says the national government is committed to improving prisons around the country.
The Buimo prison is the second biggest prison in Papua New Guinea, and it has a holding capacity of 500 prisoners. Currently, the prison has a problem with overcrowding. The number of remandees are almost equivalent to the number of convicted prisoners. Jail Commander Judy Taras says the only way to alleviate this growing number of inmates is to build lockups in rural districts in Morobe and other provinces.
The holding capacity for Buimo is 500. At the moment, we've gone past 750 and we've gone over by 250. So we have a huge problem with overcrowding here.
In 2013, a record of more than 40 prisoners escaped from the Buimo jail. Many others have escaped from Bion jail in Medang and Barawagi in Chimbu province. This prompted the Correctional Service hierarchy to take drastic measures in improving facilities at prisons throughout the country. The late Correctional Service Commissioner Martin Baltasar visited Buimo in 2013, and he proposed for a new perimeter fencing around the Buimo main compound and a new rural lockup for the Bulolo district.
For Morobe province, I want to thank Honorable Sam Basil for coming in to help correctional service. He has already given some funding for the construction of a mini prison in Jenag.
Unlike prisons in Momase and the Highlands region, Southern region has reported about 14 prison escapes this year, 4 from Bomana and some from the Birute prison in Popondetta. Buimo prison this year has only reported 9 escapes. Overcrowding and the bad conditions in prisons have been some of the reasons for the escapes. Setting up rural lockups in rural outstations will alleviate the high number of inmates into major prisons like Buimo and Bomana.
They're putting a lot of money into prisons to build up facilities and building the facilities for the prisons and providing good conducive place for a prisoner to live in.
The national government, through the acting commissioner for CIS, are yet to announce the government's plans to improve 9 prison facilities around the country. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV News, Leh.
The National Airports Corporation has drawn up a master plan to develop the Nadzab Airport into a city. Acting Chief Executive Officer of NAC, Joseph Tupiri, says the plan will have a huge impact on Morabe and the country's economy. The plan was revealed to National Planning Minister Charles Abel last Sunday during a visit to Nadzab Airport.
This huge landmass opposite Nadzab Airport is the proposed land to cater for the master plan. NAC officers say the ultimate plan is to expand the airport and make it an alternate to Port Moresby.
We've been thinking about the plan for a few years now. Nadzab actually presents, in fact, this catchment area presents one of the greatest opportunities for us.
Tupiri revealed to Minister Abel that Nadzab has the potential to become an intermodal hub for land, sea and air transport.
And the government has now come to partner with us through the Office of Urbanization in line with the affordable housing program.
Part of the development includes building of residential houses, commercial sector, aviation services, schools and other relevant institutions to make a city. These developments come off as Leh sees millions being pumped into the province by the national government for projects such as roads, the tidal basin and the Engau Hospital.
To partner and look at the bigger future, longer-term version of what this means, the airport development.
NAC Chairman Peter Neville says the plan complements government's intention of building and making Leh an economic corridor of the country.
And we're pleased that developing partners are coming on board with us to look at the housing and airport precinct, the highway precinct.
A number of investors, including development partners, are going through the master plan with a memorandum of understanding being signed for groundwork to start. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
And in the autonomous region of Bougainville, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill will officiate the Arapa Airport reopening tomorrow at Kiata Central Bougainville. The Prime Minister will lead a government delegation and touch down at Arapa to begin the official program. Business and government institutions who owe electricity bills to PNG Power Limited have been urged to settle their dues. The company says it will cut power supply by Christmas if bills aren't paid. PPL CEO John Tuggett also issued a warning to organizations to settle outstanding bills. Post PNG issues stamps of Bank of PNG governors to educate people in the country about their functions and responsibilities. Bank of PNG stamps are now available at Post PNG outlets nationwide for consumers. UPNG journalism student Eric Harupma reports.
Not many people know the governance of BPNG and the bank's functions. The stamps provide an opportunity for the 7.5 million people of this country, especially those in rural areas, to better understand BPNG and those who have been at the helm.
Main reason why we agreed on having it is to, as part of our history, to create awareness for our people that these people have contributed to the development of nation building in Papua New Guinea, and especially in the responsibility as governors of the central bank.
Stamps also drive awareness to the people of this country that BPNG fundamentally contributes to the development of PNG economically. It is an independent body that regulates the functions of other financial institutions in the country. With PNG's growth, the bank maintains a crucial balance.
1952 up to today, we haven't done an imprint stamp release. But for Bank of PNG, we've done a special imprint. It's a gold imprint we've done on the stamp.
BPNG stamps will be available now in Post PNG, Port Moresby and its other outlets nationwide. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
One more eviction at Mara Barracks as the PNGDF frees up institutional housing. I'll bring you that and more after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. A prominent Manus woman leader wants more women participation in business activities in the province. Naha Rooney says women must move away from conventional ways of doing business into bigger business ventures. She is currently the president for PIHI Manus, an association dedicated to empowering women in Manus.
Manus may be the smallest province in Papua New Guinea, but it has some big issues confronting its women. The population of females is estimated to be slightly above the males. This still does not give women in Manus the advantage over their men. Participating in economic activities and decision-making is largely male-dominated. They are starting to see a shift. Women are being empowered through their various women's associations to be leaders, decision makers and entrepreneurs. At the Pihi Manus Resource Center, progress is being made to train women to move away from conventional style of making business.
To participate in business seriously and go beyond just marketing, selling goods in the market. We want them to participate seriously into the areas because we have an opportunity now with the asylum seekers here.
With their focus on strengthening the family unit, Mrs. Rooney believes this can only be achieved if women are given the right support from the government. Pihi Manus have bigger plans for its women into the future.
And we are hoping that eventually the Pihi Manus will build a technical or a vocational school for the Manus women so that our young girls and daughters who don't make it to grade 12 or grade 10 and don't make it to tertiary education, at least they can come back to our technical and vocational schools so that they can learn and we teach the skills so that everyone can have a skills to have a skills that they can develop their own homes.
Minister for Religion, Youth and Community Development Delilah Gore in her recent visit met with various women's groups. She encouraged them to forge a stronger partnership among themselves to address pressing issues affecting their lives. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
For the past 10 years, the Japanese government has been providing assistance in media education to Papua New Guinea. Today, the Japanese government handed over media equipment to the Department of Education to produce more effective educational programs as well as classroom broadcasts.
Media equipment were officially handed over today to the Department of Education from the Ambassador of Japan to PNG, Morio Matsumoto. Acting Deputy Secretary for Education Dr. Eliakim Apelis received the equipment on behalf of the Minister for Education Nick Kuman.
Today's children are more digital oriented as evident through the use of mobile phones, learning through portable electronic devices such as tablet, smartphones or laptop with the access to appropriate and approved electronic educational content is more effective for our children than the traditional method.
Dr. Eliakim admitted that the quality and standard of education in the country has dropped and was grateful for the contribution of the Japanese government.
Change of telecommunication in PNG since 2007 has brought new opportunities to many Papua New Guineans and the way we conduct business, making available electronic resources and internet in the schools will enhance teaching and learning. The neighboring communities will also benefit from these changes.
The Japanese government have over the past 10 years provided various assistance in education, especially with the construction of a media center, including the provision of equipment to produce educational materials, providing Japanese specialists to PNG and PNG trainers to Japan. The handover of the equipment today is to provide the media center with more advanced equipment.
Japanese government provided the media center with most advanced media education equipment under the cultural grant assistance, which will be able to realize the production of educational DVD and TV programs with much higher quality than ever before.
He also added that the process of improving media education materials and programs will help improve education in the country. Judith Kasek, National, EMTV News.
This morning, another family was evicted at Murray Barracks. This comes as the PNG Defence Force continues its move to free up institutional housing. The family of late ex-corporal Peter Tovara were forced to leave the house. They have been living there for the last 14 years.
The family comes from Hela province. They have lived out of their home province since the 1960s. The PNG Defence Force came and removed Mrs. Tovara and her family when she was about to attend her first grandson's grade 8 graduation. They were abandoned at the Apex Park near Boroko to look for their new home. EMTV arrived when they were praying and hoping for miracle to happen. For the last 2 weeks, some families of the ex-servicemen were also evicted from their homes. The PNG Defence Force Commander, Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo, said many of these ex-servicemen have lived there for too long and has prepared to repatriate them to their home villages.
The ex-servicemen understand the PNG Defence Force responsibility to repatriate them away from the merit quarters to their homes.
The family were at the park since 9 o'clock this morning. For hours, they have been sitting under this tree without basic necessities. The public also came to express their sympathy.
But if such all this line are being dumped out here this way, the humanitarian point of view, is our future going to be similar in this way?
Basinata Yama, National EMTV News.
And that's a take on our news segment tonight, but do stay with us. I'll be back with Trukai Sports right after these short messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Taekwondo Federation has reached its intensive stage in terms of selection and upskilling its competitors and referees to prepare for the 2015 Pacific Games. After 4 days of punishing, 5-hour sessions daily, the fighters appear primed and ready for July.
Fighters from all over the country have been selected into the intensive training camp that has seen 3 sessions a day as fighters prepare. Under the guidance of coach Andy Rutter, the fighters have undergone high-performance training with the aim of improving technical skills. The sport is not just physical, despite its apparent nature.
Absolutely. It's almost 85% mental attitude and mental capacity in our sport because split-second decisions are made. So we already practiced that during our training session there. That's like I said, I select them already on the capacity on how they are acting in a class, how quick they get tired on the mind, how fast they can convert commands. It's all a mental part of it. Of course, pain barrier, maybe an injury, how they're actually acting and pushing through. So mind and the mental part is a very, very big thing in Taekwondo, yes.
Referees who will be participating in the games are also progressed, and Vice Chairman of the Referees Board of Australia, Denzel Ray, also present. His role to raise the quality of referees throughout the Oceania region as well.
Being an international referee myself, I am actually bringing him up to a standard similar to what I do. So everything is scrutinized, everything is recorded. It has to be followed by the WTF rules with the actions, controlling a match, the technical side of things, which is very really responsible for, and it has to be under the World Taekwondo Federation rules, which we will make sure that we are on the same level no matter where they go.
The sessions have also looked at attitude, converting skills into usable technique, and utilizing the given commands to execute movement. Now, it's been a long and grueling 2-hour session. The fighters have just finished, and they've come from all across the different parts of Papua New Guinea. Some have come from Bougainville, the rest from the Central Province, including the Highlands region, as well as, of course, Port Moresby. And they're all here specifically for one purpose only, and that is to make that final selection squad for the 2015 Games. Jeremy Moggy, National EMTV Sports.
And I'll bring you more sporting news in a few minutes. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports.
Good to have you back with True Kai Sports. The Papua New Guinea Olympic Committee will be running a national coaching conference in early January. Coaches and managers from all 28 sporting codes in the 2015 Pacific Games will be attending this clinic with the purpose to upskill local coaches and managers.
Today, EMTV caught up with Chef de Mission Richard Kessman to get an update on the National Coaching Conference at the High Performance Training Center, which will take place on the 9th of January 2015. He explained the importance of the course, as it will help the knowledge and skills of coaches and managers to develop their coaching skills to better understand the psychological aspects of athletes, enhancing their physiological status and recommending proper nutrition intake.
The opportunity at that workshop is to bring in some experts from overseas and to build their knowledge right across the spectrum of their coaching skills. So the main thing is that this is a conference about some of the softer skills, not the sport-specific skills. So we're going to bring in, for example, a psychologist, a nutritionist as well, physiotherapists, and various other specialities to help build our coaches overall and managers overall capacity.
The program is also to upgrade coaching skills of local coaches and managers to fully understand the exercises or activities they can provide to their athletes on the basics of science and coaching strategies. The PNG Olympic Committee has also started hiring coaching managers and coaches from overseas. PNG athletes are taking international standard training and coaching from Tom Frost and Aaron Alsop at the High Performance Training Center.
And then some of the other areas that we wanted to work on was a lot around leadership and culture and team branding. It was really important that we get the coaches and managers to understand, I guess, what the bigger perspective is about the Pacific Games and their role that they play in investing in our athletes.
Rafaela Kaure, National EMTV Sports.
Overseas now to cricket. Stand-in skipper Virat Kohli has led the Indian fight back in the first test, scoring a gutsy 115 to guide his side to 5 for 369 at stumps on day 3. The tourists still trail Australia by 148 runs.
Having declared overnight, Michael Clarke again shrugged off back problems to lead his troops into the field. The visitors with a massive mountain to climb, but immediately looked up for the challenge.
It's flashed through the gap.
Darwan and Vijay saw off Mitchell Johnson's first spell with ease, leaving Ryan Harris to draw first blood.
And gone. There he is, Ryan Harris. He just keeps coming at you.
Vijay started slowly but took fancy to Nathan Lyon.
Oh, what a super stroke.
A couple of big sixes guided him to 50. The skipper putting his body on the line before Johnson struck.
Oh, there we go. There's the breakthrough.
Pajara was up for the fight until on 73, Nathan Lyon got lucky.
Yes, well bowled, Nathan Lyon. Lots of quality cricket has got into that.
Lyon was making good use of the pill, so too the skipper. The Indians' resolve led by their captain as Kohli passed 50. Rahane got there too before Lyon's bounce brought him undone.
This time maybe, yeah. He's got him this time.
But not even a new ball in the hands of Johnson could slow Kohli as he sailed past 3 figures.
That's a big gap, and that is beautiful timing. Second Test match 100 in Australia.
His knock coming to an end in the shadows of stumps.
It's in the air. Ryan Harris, he takes a blinder.
And it's clear Johnson is not done yet.
And that's a take on our sporting details. I'll bring you all the weather details coming up next. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, Port Moresby to expect a chance of a shower or two, mostly fine expected in Karamau as well as Alatau and Popondetta, and brief showers in Daru. In Momase, all centres to look forward to fine weather. In the New Guinea Islands, sunny in Loringa, mostly fine in Kimbe and Kokopo, fine but cloudy at times expected in Buka, and brief showers to be anticipated in Kavieng. And in the Highlands region, all centres morning fog, then fine weather. And before we go, quickly recapping our main headlines tonight. The ADB says PNG's economic slowdown is an opportunity to rethink priorities. Also, the opposition annoyed with the PM over his move against the tribunal, and Rabaul improve its electricity supply. Well, that's been the news, sports and weather tonight. I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks heaps for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.